All right, you ready? I would move to return from executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes, if you join in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Move to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes. First up, public hearing on the Kellogg Gateway Study. Paul Drury. Hello, Paul.
Good evening. Tonight we have a public hearing for the Kellogg Gateway Study. This was a study that was presented to the Anderson Township Zoning Commission last month, who recommended approval. A little bit of history on this. The Ohio Riverfront Area Plan was adopted in 2002 and then also updated in 2013. Probably 2 years ago at a trustee planning meeting, it was discussed that the township businesses on the entertainment side of 275 on Kellogg were not benefiting, or the area was not aesthetically pleasing. It was difficult wayfinding wise when you were getting off of the interstate for the regional destinations to find them. But that interchange at Kellogg in 275 was actually in the city of Cincinnati. The area has two interchanges, one at 52 and then one at Kellogg in 275. So the trustees requested that we look at this area, partner with the city of Cincinnati and the California Neighborhood District to enhance the aesthetics of the area, the streetscaping of the area, and take our former studies, the riverfront plans, and take them, start to implement them, or implement components of those plans. So the township conducted an RFP, a request for proposals process. Ultimately, MSP Design was selected, and Brian Grome, representing MSP Design, is here in the audience, and he will help make this presentation. MSP was selected as our consultant. The township met with city elected officials, the mayor, Mayor Cranley, as well as one of the city council members at the time, Amy Murray, to gain their support to do this joint study between the two neighborhoods, the California neighborhood in Cincinnati and the township. We also engaged multiple other public partners, the city of Cincinnati, their engineering department, their economic development department, as well as their planning department, the California Neighborhood Council, and then on the township side, Hamilton County Engineers Office, as well as the Ohio Department of Transportation. This was also at the height of the beginning of the pandemic in the spring of 2020. So most of these were held virtual. We had our in-person interviews with our consultant, and the pandemic hit, the shutdown. So we continued this study, but mainly virtual for the year 2020. We also met initially with businesses in the area on both sides of the interstate. So we met with business owners in California as well as business owners in the township. We met with residents. And we did this virtually again. We had a virtual open house. But we also did a walkthrough through the time. We walked up and down Kellogg, and business owners came out to this curb to talk to us and give us their feedback on some of the issues that they saw and some of their ideas of how to improve the area. And then lastly, once the draft plan was finalized, we did have an open house at Didlow Brewery, and this occurred on August the 3rd, 2021, and we presented the findings of the study and the draft ideas. So that is how we got to the draft. From here, I will let Brian Grome from MSP Design explain a little bit more about the plan itself and present the plan to you.
Thank you for the introduction, Paul, and thank everyone on the board for having MSP actually create this study for you. We take great pride in this. The intent of this document was not as a traffic study, it wasn't as a land use study, but a study to how to improve the connection between the California Business District as well as the Entertainment District, with the focus on landscape beautification, streetscape enhancements, accessibility and safety, economic development, and wayfinding. So the study encompassed the whole entire California Business District, starting at Rensselaer Avenue, all the way down to the intersection of State Route 52 and Kellogg. As Paul previously stated, the beginning of the project took place during the height of the pandemic, so we were all online meetings, so it made it a little bit difficult through there. But we conducted a site walk that we had a lot of participants in, and with the residents, stakeholders, and some business owners. And during this site walk, it gave everyone an opportunity to voice their areas of interest as well as their concerns. After the site analysis was conducted, which allowed us to create 3 focus areas of the sites. Right here. These areas were the California Business District, as we said, the Entertainment District, and also the intersections of I-275 and the 2 exits. The site analysis also shows improvement areas for streetscape, signage, smart tech signs, and connections between each area. With this analysis, we wanted to gain even further knowledge or further input from business owners and residents, so we conducted online surveys to get as much information as we possibly could. The survey, we gathered valuable information. We used this to create a vision plan in which I would like to go over a few key points here. Starting at exit 71, there's no clear signage, no anything that really signifies that you have entered the entertainment district. So we're proposing, monument signage to signify and really give you that the beginning first impression to start your area out here. Landscape improvements will also be needed on this intersection as well as throughout the whole corridor and the other intersection of 275. The landscape improvements will just continue throughout the corridor and really connect both spaces between California and the exit here. The areas encompassed in the yellow squiggly lines there are areas for economic growth. One important item to note is on the southeast corner of Kellogg, there's a great opportunity for connection to the Ohio River. With the survey, it was brought up multiple times that residents and business owners would like that connection to the river, and we feel like the Boatsmith property is what it's called. I feel like this is a great area to achieve this. Headed west towards Belterra, we wanted to create consistent edge treatment along Kellogg with street trees, fencing, landscape buffer, and decorative light poles and banners. Once we pass Belterra, moving on up, there's a few other areas of interest. One of the most important opportunity areas for economic growth is the intersection of Sutton and Kellogg. We feel this is the best location for not only new retail, restaurants, and hotels, but also for a rideshare drop-off and pick-up location. Shuttle buses can also be stored here to bring residents or visitors from to Riverbend, Coney, as well as Belterra Park. The intersection, it needs a little beautification, so we're also proposing some decorative crosswalks included with there, some vertical architectural elements that will have signage on there, ornamental turn lanes to assist in traffic control, and continued landscape edge treatments that we discussed before. Since this intersection plays such an important role, we are proposing a welcome plaza at the entrance of Coney Islands. The welcome plaza will establish a main destination for visitors and will also attract development and businesses. With the new businesses, we feel that this will allow visitors to stay down here within the area even when there's no major event going on at Coney or Riverbends. Headed west on toward exit 72, we have proposed the possibility of roundabouts at each intersection. We've been met with mixed feelings on these, but we feel that it would assist in the traffic issues during peak events. The underpass is also an area of interest, and this can be improved with some decorative lighting, some landscaping, some vertical architectural elements. And then also an item that was brought up during the survey was safety traveling on the bike path from California to the entertainment districts, and I think this would help with that. As we stated before, there's a need for entrance monuments. I'll go back one slide here. Entrance monuments at these locations where the exits come in. So, we need some signage that really gives you the sense of arrival for not only the entertainment district, but also for California Business District on the north side. The monuments can be placed across from each exit lane, so when visitors feel that sense of arrival. Moving on to the California Business District, there's a few other areas of concern. The first is the bike trail, which currently stops at Waits Avenue, just north of Deadlow Brewing, and does not connect to the further north Bike Avenue at Salem Road. We have three options that we came up with to alleviate this. First is implementing a road diet to reduce one lane of northbound traffic on Kellogg and add a bike trail on Kellogg Avenue, as shown in that top photo. Second will be to utilize Lindeman Street to move the bike traffic off of Kellogg and around downtown California. And then also explore, there's a paper street in California, as we have shown. That would be the possibility of that lower photo there, to just have a designated bike lane there. Another area of concern in California is the Waits Avenue intersection at Kellogg, where cars tend to speed up due to highway signage above the roadway there in the middle of the downtown area. We propose removing this overhead signage and relocating to the south of Deadlow Brewing. This will also help with the safety of pedestrians and bicyclists moving along there. We have also proposed a right turn only from Waits to Kellogg, which Deadlow actually already suggests to their customers. And this will move traffic to the El Dorado traffic light, which is a much more safe access through there. One last important item I want to touch on is this consistent signage. So currently there's around 7 different styles of signs throughout the corridor. And these are a few examples of how to combine all of them and create just a consistent look to the entire area. At the end of the study, we included a list of priorities and priorities and actions. You can read a little bit more about this in the document, but we included the aesthetics and public spaces, which is landscape enhancements, streetscapes enhancements along Kellogg, the Welcome Plaza, accessibility and safety, which is design and implement the consistent wayfinding, and economic development. With these implementations, we feel that visitors, residents, and businesses will have a more positive experience in the corridor and will continue to grow Anderson Township and attract new development. If you have any questions, please let Paul or I know.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. I did want to acknowledge some of the comments made during the Zoning Commission meeting. We did have a couple of property owners in the area, and I wanted to express some of their concerns, both the support of the plan, but then some concerns. With any of these items in the plan for implementation, most of them will require additional study. So I did want to make that clear. Additional study for wayfinding, additional study for some of the landscape enhancements at the interchanges. There would be additional study needed for any of the transportation projects if we move forward with those. So I did want to make that clear that all of this is from an aspirational viewpoint for this study, and once we move forward to implementation on these various goals, most likely they would require additional study. But with that being said, one concern that Coney Island had, especially with the Welcome Plaza, they stated they do have contractual agreements in place to provide parking for Riverbend parking. And they were concerned that a Welcome Plaza would impact that contractual agreement. So we did want to bring that to your attention, and we would definitely take that into consideration if the Welcome Plaza moved forward, additional study and working with Coney to make sure that no contractual obligations were disrupted, and that hopefully the plan could enhance that as well, enhance the area. We did have a church as well in the California neighborhood that suggested, when looking at events and also transportation in the area, make sure that the large events don't impact the smaller businesses in the area. So we've seen this with large events, sellout concerts, sellout holiday festivals. We've seen it, in Kellogg. We've seen it through the California Business District. We've seen impacts on 275 on the bridge. So any study moving forward and any improvements need to take that into consideration. This was also a concern from our Zoning Commission. The Zoning Commission was very supportive of the plan. They thought it was a great idea to move forward to the area, that it could really enhance the area. It could help both the California area and the entertainment area. thrive off of each other and be very successful. And the other thing I did want to raise, both California and Anderson Township wanted to ensure that their identities were kept. So with wayfinding signage or consistent signage, do it in a way that identities are remain the same, but play off of that. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions? All right, thanks, Paul. This is a public hearing, so anyone that would like to address the board for, against, comments, questions, may do so at this time. Just specific to this study, sorry. Seeing none, do we have a motion?
Move to close the public hearing?
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes. And do we have a resolution to consider?
Yeah, I mean, sort of. I move to adopt resolution case 1, 2021 LUP Kellogg Gateway Study.
Second.
Mrs. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes. Paul, thanks for all your work on this. MSP, obviously, Brian, thanks for your work. This was a pretty cool experience. Lot of input, a lot of work, and I think the results are pretty cool. That area needs a shot in the arm, just from an aesthetic standpoint, but I think this will also help with some of the things that we're missing down there, and certainly to get a few other businesses would be a great thing. So, anything else?
No, I agree. Thank you.
All right. Presentations, recognitions. I think the first one is for Brad Bowers.
Thank you. So tonight we would like to recognize Brad for his passing of the AICP exam. And we've been before you before, but the AICP is the American Institute of Certified Planners. This is a certification for the planning profession. There are two tests now. They've separated the tests into two components. One is an essay component and one is a multiple choice component. But the test does range through all aspects of planning, so it is a difficult test to achieve. And this is, Brad completed the second component, the essay component, last month and learned that he did pass that. So we're very proud of him. You also, in order to qualify to take the exam, you need either so many years of education and experience. And so Brad has met that with his experience here in the township. So with that, we wanted to congratulate Brad on this achievement.
Anything you want to say, Brad, or are you just going to?
I just want to thank the trustees for continued support in professional development and look forward to serving our residents.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Brad.
Good work, Brad.
Well done.
And Community Planning Month.
So October is National Community Planning Month, and we wanted to take this opportunity. I'm going to brag on our department.
Go for it.
So thank you. We don't do that very often, and I did want to brag on our department on all of the different aspects of planning that we have done, which you have supported and have promoted. So you've been very proactive in allowing us to plan, which we are very thankful. So on top of Brad becoming an AICP member, we also have Steve, myself, Sarah, and now PJ is also an AICP candidate and will qualify in January to receive his full certification. So that's very impressive for a community our size. So we do want to toot our own horns at that we have that many on staff that have gone through this program. In addition, and again, thank you for your support of continuing education, but PJ is currently attending classes at NKU to receive a master's in public administration. Brad is working on a certificate of sustainable transportation from the University of Washington. And as you know, last year, Sarah completed her master's in planning from Penn State. This year, she is also participating in a Women in Leadership program that's being offered at Xavier University. So not only ASCP certified, but also continuing education in the planning field. And you'll see tonight, as far as our proactiveness in planning, we just had the Kellogg Gateway study go for adoption. We're in the process of finalizing our comprehensive plan. And then we're also hoping to initiate the adoption process of the ART master plan. So with this, we wanted to thank you, but we also wanted to acknowledge our planning efforts in Community Planning Month.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you all.
You want to talk about campaign signs while you're up there?
Really, you guys do really good work. I mean, you make our job so much easier by all the planning that you do. So thank you so much for that.
Yes. Second.
Third.
All right. Public forum. So now is the time when you can come up and address the board on any topic. Do so at this time.
Just state my name.
Please.
Dominic Wolfer. I wanted to say some nice things about Mr. Pappas, so I brought a vomit bag for you.
Is that a vomit bag or a dog bag? It's a doggy bag.
I'll take it. Yes, thank you.
How many of those you got? Just one?
Just. You think I should have got more?
More than one.
Yeah,
It's going to affect Josh more than others, I think.
Thanks, Dominic.
My pleasure. So 8 years of service to Anderson Township. Just kind of wanted to say a couple of thoughts. Mr. Pappas has always been a champion of businesses. I know personal stories of him helping different individuals who are starting their own companies and have to deal with the county, dragging their feet to get things done. So on a very personal level and the macro level of being a trustee, he's done a good job for the citizen and business owners. He himself, as a business owner in those 8 years, I believe relocated and eventually sold his company to make room for a much-needed chicken shop in Anderson Township. You've been responsible with the rest of the trustees for new tax revenues and the Recplex. And as a commissioner on the park board, we thank all of you guys for making that deal happen. As you guys may have seen, we're already breaking ground there and trying to make even more improvements on what you guys did. So that's a great win for the community, and want to thank you for that. Mr. Pappas is a philanthropist who's constantly doing food and clothing drives. I don't know where we're going to do these now that we don't have a location.
Chicken place.
The chicken place. Okay, we'll go there then. You know, if there's a hurricane, a natural disaster, whatever it is, we always know where you can donate clothes and food and toiletries and everything else. I would have to say that, you know, Mr. Pappas is like a big bear, and that he's big and he's hairy and he's got a big growl. But he couldn't be a better human being underneath all that hair. And
Sleep all winter, too.
So basically, I know that the community is going to be in good hands with Lexi, but I think we'll all miss you, and just want to take the time to say thank you. I thought I only had 2 minutes. Otherwise, I could have gone on for another minute.
You know, I didn't know that, I had no idea why you were here tonight, but you are too kind, and I appreciate your kind words.
You bet.
Very
Thank you,
much. And
trustees.
I'll say this board enjoys I'll speak on my behalf, but I know I speak for the board, the collaboration and partnership that we've fostered with our parks board is something we're very proud of. And what we've been able to accomplish at Beacon Shakers is something that we're very proud of. And we have the utmost confidence in the park board continuing to do great things.
Yeah, you guys are talking about gateways. That makes a great great gateway for Anderson Township, having the Recplex right there. So awesome.
Dog park. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dominic.
Dominic.
Anyone else? All right, with that, we'll move on. Dee, Andrew, any other comments?
Well, thank you for coming. I will say we actually have three candidates running for Anderson trustee, and all three of them are here tonight. And so it's Mary Gartner, Lexi Lawson, and Josh Gert. So there's not just So I just want to make that clear to everybody. And that's all I have to say.
Well, I will say that, first of all, election season is less than 2 weeks away. It's an interesting time of the year. I will say it's much different not being a candidate, and much more stress-free than being a candidate. And I can appreciate what all the candidates are going through. And I will say that I'm pretty impressed by the level of civility that's been maintained, at least at the trustee level race. It seems to have been very drama-free, I guess would be the best term I could use for it. And I'd like to remind our residents that, you know, you won't be seeing these election signs for too much longer. They'll be coming down promptly, hopefully in another week or so, and they'll be gone. And that's up to the candidates to take down, not you. So between now and then, please don't go out and destroy anybody's signs. It's not your responsibility, nor is it something that our sheriff department takes kindly to. It's amazing to me how every election cycle people get very emotional about signage. But let's remember, folks, that there's a lot more important things going on in the world than the election signs and what you may or may not think you can do on someone else's property. With that, I wish everybody Halloween's coming up as well. We won't be meeting before then, so a safe Halloween to everyone and kids, and we'll be getting into the holiday season here soon enough.
Thanks. Ken, you're up.
Thank you. In your packet, you have the financial reports for the end of September. They indicate that our revenues are over what we had anticipated. There are a couple reasons for that. That would be the TIF funds generated more money, as they usually do almost every year, than we expected, and we did get some extra money in from the CARES Act. So they're a little bit over what we had anticipated, but we'll take that gladly. The expenses are running around 65%, and we're 3/4 through the year, which would be 75%. I expect us to come in, as we always do, under the budgets and under the estimated expenses by the end of the year. So that's another good thing. We do have some appropriation changes, and the main reason for the appropriation changes, as you look at the report, is mostly medical insurance. They moved our date of payment up from last year, which made us responsible for one more payment in a couple areas, like the general fund and the public works area. And we need to make that payment before January 1st, so that's automatically going to go into this fiscal year, which is the reason why we need some money in those areas. And we would like to, within funds, increase the insurance in the general fund by $16,000 and take that from other expenses, which keeps that fund in balance. Same thing with the public works area, $21,000 more in medical insurance, and we took that from contracts, which we will have enough money to carry us through in the contract area. And then the same condition exists in the fire and rescue, except we did have a couple new employees hired, and that adds to that increase there. And we actually saved some money over the year on workers' compensation. So with all of those changes, the three funds remain at an equal balance, and that means we don't have to send a letter to the county auditor's office to make sure that change goes through, but it does have to go through the board. So I would need your approval on those three changes.
I move to adopt the appropriation changes recommended by Fiscal Officer Ken Dietz.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Then I think we have 3 sets of minutes that need approval.
I move to approve the minutes of August 19th, 2021, September 2nd, 2021, and September 16th, 2021.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you, Ken.
Margaret?
Good evening. In your packet, there's a resolution relating to a report of mine to the board. As compliance officer, which is provided to you under your credit card policy that was adopted in April of 2019. And every 6 months, I'm required to provide the report to you that's attached to that resolution for your consideration. And I should suggest that the instigation of this policy in 2019, which leads to this biannual reporting, is a result of some changes to Ohio state law that requires this review to take place.
I move to adopt a resolution accepting the report of the law director as compliance officer provided pursuant to the Anderson Township credit card account policy of April 2021.
Second.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
I just wanted to add that it's been a pleasure working with Jennifer and Michelle in the fiscal office, Ken, and they've provided a lot of data for me on various projects, of course, including this.
I did most of the work. You know that's not true. We have a good fiscal office staff now, and they got right on it. And
yeah, very helpful.
I will say the transition seems fairly seamless. I know that at least from our perspective.
From our perspective.
It may not have been,
I don't know about yours.
well, ask Vicki and the department heads what they think of it. It's been extremely successful.
Ken asked me today if I was happy with the staff in the fiscal office, and I said, no, I'm not. I'm ecstatic.
Oh, good.
They've done a phenomenal job. We've worked together on a number of projects, and Jennifer's been very helpful working through the state and local fiscal recovery fund monies, and just couldn't be happier with the service they're providing to our residents.
Thank you.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul, you're back for several things.
Thank you. Yes. So to planning again. Tonight we are requesting the initiation of the adoption process for the Anderson Township Public Art Master Plan, which is this document here. It also comes with an appendix, which is a policy document. And this is a document that the Beautification Committee, We Thrive Anderson Committee, has been discussing for many, many years of how to have a document in place that oversees all of public art in the township, how to enhance. And public art can be anything from a mural to a sculpture to decorative bike racks to temporary installations to light installations like you saw earlier with the Kellogg Gateway study, to programs offered to children at the elementary level, at the middle school level. A whole range of things can be considered as public art. And this plan will help prepare and develop the framework for that, and how art is accepted, how we decide on what pieces of art, etc., goes into the township. So I'm very excited. Designing Local has been our consultant. We have had our We Thrive committee, who has been the steering team for this. Our lead staff on this has been Sarah Donovan, and then Brad Bowers has also assisted with this plan. So tonight we're only requesting the initiation to start the adoption process, which means an application will be made and will be reviewed to our zoning commission, and then it will be before you for consideration of adoption. So there's a resolution before you for your consideration.
I move to initiate the adoption process for the Anderson Township Public Art Master Plan.
Second.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Paul, and thanks to Sarah and Brad and everybody on the We Thrive team. I think you know how excited I am about this to get
Yes.
this rolling.
Yes,
So
we
thank
do.
you. Yes, we do.
So
Everybody
very
knows.
excited.
It is well written.
It is well, and it's interesting because the Kellogg Gateway plan was presented because this plan lends itself to public art.
Yes,
I mean, it's
absolutely.
all over this, so that we're doing these two, and at the same time as the comp plan, it's all fitting well together. So
Yes.
thank you.
How many townships do you know have a public art plan?
We aren't aware of any that have a master art plan, so
Yeah.
we may be the first, in Ohio at least.
I like being the leader.
All right, thank you. The
Thank
next
you.
item on our agenda, or the next two items are concerning Clough Pike, and I think Steve's going to be the driver on. Are you going to be the driver on pages or not? Okay, well there we are. We have the display. So we're requesting authorization to apply for a couple of different funding sources. So the first project, and these projects stem from our Clough corridor study that started back in 2019 and continued through 2020. Looking at all aspects of Clough as well. So ways to enhance intersections, ways to enhance capacity, also to increase pedestrian opportunities and improvements along the corridor. So one item that we've already looked at is signalization and timing of signals on Clough Pike. We've also looked at improving crosswalk locations. Through our study, we found out that some had worn off, some weren't in the right place. And then these next two projects, we're looking to apply for funding. So the first one here is at Clough and 8 Mile. It would be the construction of turn lanes on 8 Mile. So this would be an eastbound turn lane and a westbound turn lane to help capacity at that intersection. So we're looking to apply for Ohio Public Works Commission Local Transportation Improvement Program, or LTIP. This is a grant application that requires a 50% match, or that's what we are applying for, is a 50% match. So there is a resolution before you for your consideration.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing grant application to construct intersection improvements at Clough Pike and 8 Mile Road and committing local matching funds.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you. The next project also on Clough Pike is down near Newtown Road. This is the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement Program, or SCIP program, which is a loan program. And what we are proposing here are turn lanes at the intersection with Newtown Road and the apartments, the Woods of Turpin apartments, which are across the street from Newtown Road, as well as this is the vicinity where Harmony is under construction. They are required to construct a sidewalk across their frontage, and the grant would include constructing the sidewalk to connect to their sidewalk. So there's a portion there in front of the Woods of Turpin apartments that we would construct, as well as from the Harmony property down to Copperleaf. So there would be a continuous sidewalk in that area to the Clough Business District. Again, we are requesting 50% match, and this is a loan application.
I move to adopt the resolution authorizing loan application to construct intersection improvements at Clough Pike and Newtown Road and Anderson Trails link along Clough Pike from Newtown Road to Copperleaf Drive and committing local matching funds.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you. And in the same area, another program that's being offered currently is from the Ohio Department of Transportation. It's called the Stimulus Program.
Hold on just a second, Paul.
No, I just want to be clear that, so the sidewalk now will go, once this is done, will go.
Correct. Steve, can you go back to
No, that's okay. Just,
See it?
Let me go to the
it will go clear down.
Let me go
To the business district.
Copperleaf?
There it is there.
Well, and there's a portion, so there's a house at
It'll
the
go to
corner of
Turpin, yeah.
Copperleaf and
Turpin,
Clough where
yeah,
there is
okay.
a sidewalk currently. So it'll pick up from that sidewalk down to Harmony, and then from Harmony to Newtown Road. And there's already an existing sidewalk. So yes, there will be a sidewalk
The whole stretch.
from that, yes, in that particular area of
Okay.
Clough, yes.
And if I could, Paul, staff is suggesting a loan because we could then pay that back through the Harmony revenues in the coming years.
Okay.
So there's no impact on our current. Yeah.
Even better.
Say that again?
That we will pay it back from the revenues from the Harmony development, and the Harmony development will also fund our construction, the sidewalk going to Copperleaf. So we heard during that process about stormwater. I think we've done a fantastic job with the Clough Creek improvements, and also with traffic and the turn lanes, and then also pedestrian safety, and this certainly would tackle that. So I
That
think
project is almost done.
Yes.
Very close to being open.
Yeah, they're looking to be open in January and start moving residents in May.
Thanks, Steve.
Move in January.
Thank thank you, go ahead.
Okay, so the next project, we are requesting authorization to apply for the Odot stimulus program. These are for federal funds that are applicable to sidewalk, roadway, and culvert projects located in township limits. So there is a section on Bartles near Turpin High School where there's a gap in the sidewalk. So this is, you can see Steve's cursor there. So we are requesting to apply for these funds to fill in that gap, so there will be a sidewalk in that area around Turpin High School.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing application for the Ohio Department of Transportation Stimulus Program grant for the construction of an Anderson Trails link along Bartles Road adjacent to Turpin High School and committing local matching funds.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is a resolution for your consideration for nuisance abatement on property located at 7866 YMCA Road. And this is pursuant to 505.871 and 505.173. This is the removal of a junk automobile, which is the camper you see in the picture there with the tarp over it. Staff feels that it meets the definition of a junk automobile from 505.173. We've been working with the property owner for over a year and a half to bring the vehicle into compliance or remove it from the property, and we have not had any cooperation. We were there today and did talk to the property owner who we told her about the meeting tonight and the resolution, and she said that she would remove it, but we would like to proceed with this resolution in case those plans don't come to fruition.
I move to adopt a resolution providing for the removal of junk motor vehicle from real property located at 7866 YMCA Road in Anderson Township, Ohio, pursuant to sections 505.871 and 505.173 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
So this is the same property, but a different statute. This is a nuisance abatement per section 505.87, and this is for the removal of the junk and debris and garbage on the property. So we are also requesting a resolution for that as well.
I move to adopt a resolution determining existence of a nuisance on land owned by Richard Allen deceased and the estate of Richard Allen deceased and Karen Allen located at 7866 YMCA Road in Anderson Township and providing for notice and remediation pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 505.87.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Paul. Hello, Lieutenant.
Good evening. So this is more of an informational for meeting or whatever for concerns that have been posted on Facebook. As many of you already know, the greater Cincinnati area has seen a significant increase in vehicles being stolen from its suburban neighborhoods. Just this year alone, and actually just since June, Anderson Township has had 10 vehicles taken, with all but one being recovered. These crimes appear to be the work of a group of mostly juveniles and a few young adults. In response to the Sheriff's Office and in response to what the Sheriff's Office and area law enforcement has done to stop these thefts, a total of 14 subjects have been arrested, 10 of whom are still in custody, and warrants on file for 2 others. The Sheriff's Criminal Investigation Section is currently collaborating with multiple tri-state agencies for intelligence gathering. Data will be analyzed by our intelligence unit in the hopes of showing activity patterns that will then be shared to all area departments. This will help focus where, when detectives and patrol units can implement surveillance and enforcement. It's important to note that all of these vehicles taken in Anderson had the keys or key fobs left inside them. Apprehending these youth or young adults is extremely dangerous work. We've had a 14-year-old that was in one of the stolen cars back in March run and then die during the pursuit. We've also had an incident where one of the suspects pulled a gun on somebody trying to retrieve their car without the officers being there. So again, your police will need residents to do their part to thwart the thefts by employing common sense crime prevention measures, not having direct contact with the suspects. You should, foremost, do not leave your keys or your key fob in your car. Secure your garage door openers out of plain sight. Do not leave your garage door open and unattended, no matter what time of day, because they do hit during the day also. And do not pursue these subjects. Once again, consider them armed and dangerous. Lastly, just so residents are familiar with our process, when a vehicle is reported taken, a beat unit will respond and take a report, then enter the property as stolen. That report will then be routed to a detective. If you need a copy of the report for insurance purposes, call our records division. Give them 3 to 5 business days. That number is 513-946-6220. If a victim cannot get in touch with a detective, which has happened, and I can understand that being frustrated, they can always call the main office at 851-6000, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, and you will get a live person to direct your call. With that, you have any questions?
So leaving the keys in the car is probably a bad idea.
It's not the first time we've made this announcement, and not the first way that we've made this announcement. 10.
9 of the 10 cars had keys left in them?
Oh, every single key. There was no forced entry into any of these vehicles. They were all unlocked with key fobs or keys in the vehicle. Often, the thing with the garage is we had an incident where somebody got into a car. They got the garage door opener from that, then got the garage door open and stole 2 cars from inside the garage.
The keys were in the garage.
Yeah. They could not get it was an Escalade going, but they could get the 2 cars in the garage going, so they took those.
So the garage door opener was outside an Escalade?
Which was unlocked.
Which is unlocked. Okay.
Lock the car doors and don't leave your key or key fob in it. It seems common sense, but we have put this message out on Facebook, Nextdoor, and to neighborhood watches, and it continues to happen. But we are doing our part. The Sheriff's Department and their intelligence section will be leading the way as far as gathering that data and trying to find a pattern that we can work on.
Yeah, and if I can just add, it's amazing to me, and I've witnessed it myself, where people leave their cars unlocked, windows down, laptop, wallet, credit cards visible. I was visiting a store on Beachmont Avenue, and there was a car parked next to me. The windows were rolled down. There was a woman's purse and all of its contents visible. And I stood there for probably 20 minutes before the individual came back out. The thefts that occur, we don't want to blame the victim. That's not the purpose here. The purpose is to prevent our residents from becoming victims by helping them understand that they need to lock their items in their trunk, keep things from being visible, take your key fobs in the house with you at night. It's just a danger for everyone when these vehicles are stolen, and it's a hassle for residents to have to deal with it. It's clearly they're concerned about it. It's frightening to have a theft like that occur. So we're just asking everybody to do everything they can to prevent the thefts from happening to begin with.
And I will say this, when I was a detective, I was the backup to the auto theft detectives. And we would go to auto theft seminars, and they would always start the seminar the same way. What is the new thing in auto thefts? Because it's the same thing that's been since 1980s. You can't steal a car without a key. So don't believe the movies. They're not hot wiring cars. You're leaving your keys in your car. Your unlocked car. So
Make it, don't make it easy.
just make it difficult,
Make it
and we'll do our part.
And I'll move on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you're right. These are some of these are in the middle of the afternoon.
Yep.
And so.
Thanks,
you.
Lieutenant.
Oh,
Public Works.
This is what we've been waiting for. The results.
Do we have video?
Yeah, do we?
I do not have any videos from this year. We had some from a couple of years ago, but I couldn't dig those up.
Eric, hold on just a second. Lieutenant, are you guys putting this out?
I would ask if you do not put that out just yet. I need to get with our media consultant. I'm not able to get with it today.
Okay.
Wait until tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. September 15th of this year, 9 members of the Public Works Department participated in the 2021 Hamilton County Township Rodeo. The purpose of this training event is to prepare drivers for the upcoming snow season, basically. So myself, Rob Graves, Larry Dotson, Keith Heilman were judges at the event. Jamie Bender, Harley Crewy, Ryan Mextroth, Ryan Gorth, and Adam Weigel competed against, I think it was 63 or 65 drivers from other townships. They're judged in 2 different areas. They do a pre-trip walk around a truck, and they have to find a minimum of 5 things that are either missing or wrong. Then there's also a bonus point there for something that's a little harder to find. Then they go out and drive a road course that has 7 different obstacles in it, and that's all through timed. And if you hit a barrel or you do anything, it's all deductions. But everybody did a great job. Our own Harley Crewy this year came in first. I don't have the results with me. I think Jamie Bender was somewhere around 8th or 9th, but they did a great job. And then when they get done with this, the Public Works of Southwest Ohio puts on another rodeo 2 weeks later, and the top 2 participants from each township are eligible to go and participate in that. And Jamie and Harley went and participated in that, and Jamie came in 3rd and Harley came in 4th. So they both did a really good job this year. So we appreciate you letting us go to those. They're a fun day. It's very good training, and it's very helpful.
Are mailboxes one of the obstacles there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's 2 of them on there, actually.
Always seems to be popular in there.
Yeah. Yep. So next up is the temporary seasonal workers for this year. And as the board's aware, since November of 2009, several staff recommendations were made to provide for temporary seasonal winter help for Public Works. These recommendations were based upon the need to fill vacancies that were created due to retirements in Public Works for the entering the 2010 snow season. So since then, we followed the same pattern since 2009, which has enabled us to ramp up staffing seasonally when needed, thereby minimizing the cost to the Public Works operation. So at this time, I'd like to fill these vacancies with temporary seasonal employees, and I'm requesting that these employees have a starting date of December 1st of 2021, and they would be eligible to work through the following end of December 31st of 2022. And their rate of pay will be the entry-level rate of pay for the road maintenance Road Maintenance Worker 1 set forth in the Anderson Township Road Maintenance Collective Bargaining Agreement and will not exceed $40,000 in aggregate.
Okay, but before we do that, because we did this once before, you just said the dates for,
If,
you said
if
December 1st.
If I can clarify,
Okay.
the last year the board took action through December of this year.
Mm-hmm.
So the start date that we have in the motion is January 1st. So you have prior board authorization through the end of this year.
Okay, just want to make sure. Okay.
I think you read that one.
I did. That's why I remember. I move to authorize an amount not to exceed $40,000 from the Road and Bridge Fund for seasonal temporary employees for the Public Works Department from January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022.
Second.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you. And last but not least is our yearly resolution declaring for a snow emergency for snow removal on unaccepted roads within the township. And this is basically, this would give us the ability to go and clear snow, salt plow, whatever we need to do for any type of an emergency would arise, police, fire safety, whatever. So, and that's before you this evening for your
I move to adopt a resolution declaring an emergency for snow removal on unaccepted roads.
Second.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Chief Martin, anything? Thank you. Vicki?
Yes, Mr. Severs is going to present the items for administration this evening.
Good evening. You have a few items for your consideration. The first of which pertains to, or first 2 pertain to agreements with the Ohio Department of Transportation. One of those is for a forthcoming crosswalk location. This will be at Turpin Lake Turpin Lake Place and State Road 32, right next to the Little Miami Scenic Trail. In 2022, Odot will be resurfacing State Road 32 in that area from the village of Newtown down to Clough Pike. And with that work, we'll be installing a series of rapid flashing beacons like we have in other areas, including one at the intersection and then in advance of that intersection as well. Odot will maintain those beacons, but as part of that project, and I think this image gives you a little better sense, there'll be a sidewalk section that we built along 32 and then cross over at this access to the trail to allow folks in that neighborhood, and hopefully ultimately someday in the upper parts of Turpin Hills on Patterson Farms and such. We've been forever trying to negotiate with those owners to create an access agreement, but ultimately to connect to the trail down in that area. It's one of the few areas in the community in Anderson Township where we have direct access to Little Miami Trail, and those residents are very much looking forward to that. So as part of that, the township's being asked to take over the maintenance responsibility of that sidewalk, which is consistent with our prior resolution, but the ODOT has asked for a specific agreement, hence the document in front of you this evening.
I move to adopt a resolution with respect to Turpin Lake Place and State Route 32 sidewalk project and approving and authorizing the execution and delivery of ODOT agreement number 36913 with respect thereto.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs.
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you, and we will help to move that along. The second item we have is a similar document, an agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation. This pertains to a proposed bus shelter that the township is hoping to erect on Beachmont Avenue near the Kroger fueling station. This is the bus stop that I think many of us are familiar with. Right along Beachmont, it's probably one of the most well-utilized stops that we have in this area. We actually will be constructing a shelter with township funds, but to be located in the public right-of-way. We need an agreement to maintain that, and Metro would install one, but has to be on private property. So we are in the process of purchasing one for this location and for the temporary park and ride that will replace the park and ride on top of the hill for the next couple of years, and would appreciate your consideration of that. And I think the folks that utilize that on a day-in, day-out basis would as well. So if there's any questions, happy to answer those.
No, this is a long time coming,
Yeah.
so good job. I move to adopt a resolution with respect to the installation and maintenance of bus shelter in front of Kroger store located on State Route 125 in Anderson Township within Hamilton County, and approving and authorizing the execution and delivery of ODOT agreement number 36859 with respect thereto.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you again. We'll help to advance that as well, and the order's been placed. Unfortunately, like so many things in our society, there's
It's
quite
on a shipping container?
quite a backlog. It's in a shipping container somewhere.
Imagine that.
The third item that we have is actually the third and fourth kind of linked together, pertain to property on Mount Carmel Road. We have been approached by a resident on Mount Carmel who is interested in donating their property to the township for green space purposes. This is on the west side of Mount Carmel Road going down the hill. There's actually a home on the property right now, and Ms. Woodward, who his father built the house in the 1940s and has lived there a good portion of her life, is seeking to move closer to her family, and in doing so is seeking to basically restore the property to nature. So she has approached us about acquiring the property, donating that to us, and actually us raising the home on the property and creating this as permanent open space. It is adjacent, as you see in the map there in front of you, to Hillside Trust property, which the family donated back in the early 1990s, if memory serves me right, to Hillside Trust. And Hillside Trust has been in communication. We've been talking with them about ultimately, if this proceeds forward, Hillside Trust transferring their property to us as well. This is a tremendous opportunity. It's a beautiful property. It would be 27 acres of green space, and as you see from the map there in front of you, ultimately it provides the opportunity to have a contiguous corridor of green space from Round Bottom Road all the way to Mount Carmel Road, along the, basically buffering the Anchor area from our residential area and some areas that our comprehensive plan have identified for future residential opportunities to the south. It is a spectacular piece of property, phenomenal views out the driveway, and one that if all proceeds forward, we think our community would welcome and would cherish. So there is a resolution before you, first of all, to authorize the donation or the acceptance of that donation with Lynn Woodward and associated costs with that. The item that follows that would be a resolution for the Hillside Trust. And again, there's still a number of moving pieces in this equation. The Hillside Trust Board meets next month, but they were asking us to take action first so they can approach their board about such a transfer. And you know, Margaret, I appreciate all the work you've been putting in this, and Vicki as well for moving this along. But we're very excited, and I think it's a great testament to the family as well if we're able to pull this off.
What would that bring our approximate total green space acreage to, do
We had
you know?
724.7 acres of green space.
700 and what?
I'm sorry, 726.4.
That's a lot.
My math, yes. That excludes the property that's in green space caretaking and other properties. So, yeah, it would put us over that 700 mark. And I think, like we saw with the Air family donations for the senior center and for the fire and rescue department, a real good news opportunity, and you know, a challenge to other residents to perhaps follow the same. So, if there's any questions, happy to answer those. So, Paul, I mean, a number of staff have been on the property. I don't know if there's anything else that. Yeah.
You know, this particular project is a large specimen trees that can be preserved.
And as I recall from earlier discussion, the driveway is going to stay though, so there'll be a place for people to drive in, and right?
The intent would be to, and if I could get the I'm not sure what button I hit here, but yes, the driveway that services the property, we're intending to keep that and maintain it, so there's an off-street parking area that folks can get access to the site. So there are some nearby residences, so we want to make sure we're very mindful of that. But yeah.
But people can use green space. Like green space can be hiked on. We can't put trails on them, but you can go in and walk on green space. So this is a great opportunity for our residents. So.
And how much green space do we have again?
700 something. What was it? Paul, what was it again? 726?
This will be 726.
We have a lot of green space, and we're very proud of that.
Thank you,
Okay,
Dee.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing property transfer agreement with Lynn Woodward and accepting donation of real property and interest therein to the township by Lynn Woodward pursuant to the authority of section 50510 of the revised code.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
You want me to just roll into this one? Move to adopt a resolution authorizing property transfer agreement with the Hillside Trust and accepting donation of real property and interest therein to the township from the Hillside Trust pursuant to the authority of section 505.10 of the revised code.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Thank you. We will certainly keep you and our community posted as this hopefully continues.
Thanks for all the work, guys. Appreciate it.
726, right?
An art plan, a bus shelter in front of Kroger's. It's a good day.
You got a lot done.
I got a lot today.
If
I'm
you
a
had
happy
made the
camper.
shelter artistic, it would be.
Well, I know. The timing isn't quite right. But that
Anything else to add?
That is all we have for the board this evening.
With that, our next board meeting in this room will be November 18th with exec starting at 5. I would move to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for everyone. Thanks for being here.